Welcome to No Hits Radio, where we dive deep into the uncharted waters of technology.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Express Show on No Hits Radio. This is yet another segment on Tech Talk and I am your host, Joan Kaberia. Today we have a lot lined up for you, but before we dive into our conversation, if you happen to miss any of our previous episodes, you can always visit our YouTube channel at No Hits Radio and catch up with the interviews. You can also engage and connect with us on our other platforms on Instagram at nhr.live, TikTok and Facebook at No Hits Radio. So today's conversation will dive into the world of entrepreneurship in universities here in East Africa and the role of innovation hubs in bridging the gap between academia and the industry. And I would like to introduce our guest for the day. Please, my dear guest, take it away.
Hi, John.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for honoring our invite.
Great.
So maybe you can tell us about who you are and a fun fact about you and what you do at Starthub Africa.
Great. So my name is Timothy Maenda. Because I've worked with so many students across universities in East Africa, they normally call me Tim with 3 M's. It's a nickname that came just thereabout. Story for another day. I am the country director of Startup Africa in Kenya. Of course, later we'll talk more about what Startup Africa does in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. A fun fact about me is that I love indoor games and board games, and I'm so competitive. Yeah, challenge me on a game, and
you can take me on.
I will beat.
What about chess and Monopoly? You're good.
Oh, I'm the grandmaster.
It's a challenge.
Challenge accepted, Loki.
Yeah. So we can start with the basics. What is Startup Africa? When was it founded, and what does it do?
Okay, so Startup Africa is a social venture that supports entrepreneurs and founders in Africa. That's our goal eventually, in their journey of building startups and businesses and eventually creating job opportunities for other youths. Yep. That's the shortest version of the introduction that I can give you.
Interesting.
Yep.
And why universities? I mean, there are a lot of people out here with ideas. Why universities?
Cool. So why universities actually is a very dear thing to us. Also tagged to how Startup Africa was founded. Back in 2017, some of our earlier founders started from Uganda because they had this narrative of an hypothesis that the courses that we study at universities are more theoretical and building people job market as opposed to entrepreneurship. Even the courses that are available in entrepreneurship are more theoretical as well and don't have a practical element. So we started working with universities because it's the earliest point in someone's career where you can nurture and create a mindset in the line of entrepreneurship. And the way we ran our programs from back then up to date with a lot of iterations and improvements is doing practical entrepreneurship. By practical means, we will push you to the deep end into the market to solve real-world problems because that is the only way that you can build a sustainable business that is viable and addressing a need that is in the market. Yeah. So universities have been our pillars because it is a source of fresh talent that is rich in knowledge and skills and the enthusiasm to start anything new that they want to do. And they have this good and bright vision about the Africa they want.
All right. And who are the founders? Who are the brains behind Startup Africa?
Yeah.
Starthub Africa, yes.
Yeah, Starthub Africa. So like in any other startup or business, of course, the first founders, you'll find that it's a couple of people. And then with time, it will narrow down to people who hold the vision dearly to their hearts. So some of the earlier founders were two founders of German origin, Matthias and Laura, before some of us joined in later to support the same vision. And then we expanded into Tanzania and Kenya. Yeah.
And how long have you been in business?
So from 2017, we started with, of course, getting to know the market. We didn't come with this preset mindset that, we know what we're doing and we're going to do it. So we had to come in slowly and learn the market.
Yeah.
Of course, interact with universities, interact with founders, interact with industry, government, learn regulations, and see where there's a gap that we can fill in. So that was from 2017, a lot of learning. And in 2019, we were in 10 universities in Uganda. And we did multiple projects in various fields, both in urban and rural, but all still tied to entrepreneurship and employability. We'll talk about why we also moved into employability, because it's an area that we came to realize that we want to shape talent that is ready for the market and that has skills more than the knowledge that you learn in school. You have the soft skills to plug into any world, be it corporate, business, or entrepreneurship.
Right.
Yep.
So just curious, do you focus on nurturing ideas for tech startups or any business?
So like I told you earlier, we had to learn a lot from the market. So from the beginning, we were open, welcoming any innovators who have an idea or want to build something in whichever field. With time, we came to realize that different fields need different levels of support and different levels of expertise. So we then narrowed down into two major support areas in tech and manufacturing. So in tech, we've expanded the tech businesses support, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya as well. For manufacturing, we've done that in Uganda and Tanzania. Hopefully in a couple of years, we'll get into that also in Kenya. So if I break down into tech, we are sector agnostic. By that, I mean we don't focus on a specific sector as long as the business is tech-enabled or tech-based. This is because also when you look at the trajectory of scalability and growth of a startup, tech ventures tend to scale more rapidly and can easily break into new markets if you're solving the same problem. So you realize that the same money transfer issues that we have in Kenya are the same problems in Uganda, maybe Nigeria, Ghana, etc. As opposed to manufacturing, where you have to actually meet specific regulations of a particular market before you break into another market, where you have to meet the regulations of that market as well. Yeah.
All right. And do you how do you pick a student, or this idea is what nurturing is worth working on, investing on? Is it every student that is eligible for this program? And also we can talk about the programs that you guys offer, but first we can start with is it every student that is eligible, or how do you pick students?
Great. So by working with students at the onset, we open our applications to any student that has an idea or is willing to get into business, as much as you don't have an idea, depending on the level of a program that we are running. Because some of the programs that we do involve ideation. So ideation is where we will take you through design thinking, how to identify a problem in the market, how to find a good problem to solve, and how to build a solution around that problem. So having an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
We have programs that can take someone through that. We also have levels where we work with students who have an idea, but they don't know where to start from and how to start. Then we guide them on how to start right, to start small, and keep learning and building as they grow.
Yeah.
So the selection narrows down, of course, to a couple of things. It's not one, but one of the most important to me over time that I've come to realize is the zeal, motivation, and drive of a founder. Because you realize we wouldn't love to waste your time pushing you into building something that you have no passion in, or you even don't have a vision of building a business of your own. Maybe you actually are a good lawyer or a good journalist or a good whichever skill that you can excel in as opposed to business. So we want to see that drive from the onset as soon as when we start. We have a couple of physical challenges that we give that are practical in a business setup, where we'll give you scenarios that you will have to meet in a practical business building scenario, and then we will see how you solve that. And through one-to-one mentorship and coaching of these students, we can easily get to pick who are the best. So at the end of the day, we also want to work with the best because we are investing our time and resources in that.
Do you put it like a competition? Like, and also you have maybe prize awards there, like whoever wins. It's a competition?
Yeah. So
not necessarily or entirely?
No, some element of it has competition. Of course, the selection will be open from the beginning, where there will be a selection of the best ideas or the best articulate students or someone with that passion. We look at a couple of things. So we don't want to limit it to it's only best ideas. No. It could be someone who doesn't have an idea, but they have a passion in building something. You can guide them through that. Then they get into a program where they're actually trained and taught on how to think of problems, think of solutions, and also to get to the market, talking to customers, pitching your idea in front of investors, etc. Then at the end, there is an element of competition where we've brought everyone up to speed so that there isn't an element of unfair competition. You've all been trained on the same program, and where you will go on stage and present your idea, who will be having a panel of judges, investors in the room that can listen to your idea and challenge you. And then we use some criteria and also the judges' verdict to come up with the best, and then there is an award. So this is also based on whatever program we're running. Some programs that we do at the university level, some of them are self-funded. So the way we run our business is, like I said, it's a hybrid social venture. So we have a profit-making arm and a non-profit-making arm. So the profit-making arm works with other organizations that need our services to achieve their goals. Then the profits we get from that, we reinvest into the non-profit arm, where now we work with universities because you realize most of them can't pay for these programs or services. And the investments that we make in startups or the award prices, some are our own investments, some could be funded by another partner.
No, you've mentioned some of them are not able to pay. So it's not like you bring this idea and then these people just recruit you and then they work on you. You have to, like, it's at a fee.
No. So the fee here is already paid for, like I said. The profit-making arm does subsidize some of these services and we provide it for free to students. At some stages later, where we get into the investments phase, then we can do incubation and acceleration. So at the acceleration is now the startups that have been selected and have a growth trajectory that we can see and are interested in. Then we can invest or we can lobby other investors in our ecosystem to invest in a particular startup. So if you look at the investments that are made in startups, we use what we call equity investment as opposed to the traditional debt investment that is common. Debt investment is taking loans from institutions or from someone. Equity is where somebody will invest time, money, resources in you, and they'll get a portion of your company, which of course they will only make a profit if they exit sometime in future, maybe 10 years when the business is big, and then they sell off or it goes public and they sell the shares to the public.
It's similar to what we see on TV. Is it Lion's Den or Shark Tank? Is it that? Where the investor, if you give them a percentage of your company, they give you an amount.
Actually, it's typically like that.
Yeah.
But now some of these conversations, because you will get seasoned investors who've invested in startups and businesses in a couple of years, they have a very long due diligence criteria that they would want to follow before they invest. At the end of the day, they're also in business, or we're also in business. If we're putting money in a startup, we have to make sure it's the best. And just assessing at a pitch, like you see in Lion's Den, does not cut the end. You have again to go and look at the founders, the people behind it, the business itself. Does it make sense? Do you want to put your money in it? Is there anything that you will bring to this business that is new?
Yeah.
Make it grow faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I remember in a previous interview that I did on startup stories, the dynamics around startups, the challenges and all that. And we talked about, one of the reasons why startups will fail, one of them is debt. And then the other ones is not having like a sustainable, like a solution to bridge a gap, like the way Kune food, Kune food? Yeah, the reason behind it was not, substantial.
Yeah.
Do you have mentors when you're taking up these ideas or nurturing these students, do you like have mentorship programs? Because if you're telling them or they come up with an idea, you question, is it going to solve a specific problem? Is it worth just leaving it? Do you mentor them?
Definitely. So our programs, especially at incubation and acceleration phase, we have invested in a team that has expertise in various fields.
Yeah.
We have people who can support and guide startups with an expertise in tech, like hardcore tech building. We have people who are experts in investment matters, in fundraising, in marketing, in putting your operations right, in accounting and processes. So when we start working with a startup, we do a deep diagnostics.
Yeah.
At what stage are they? What are they lacking? And what can we do to make them grow much faster? Then we will match you to a team of our internal coaches, actually, and mentors that we have both internally and externally that will help you see your business from a different angle and perspective that you would have not seen by yourself. One problem that I've seen with most founders is they fall in love with the business and the solution that they're building. And that hinders their vision of some of the critical components that are actually might affect the growth of the business. So you want to push something in the market because you've spent your time, money, and resources building it, as much as it might not be something that is really needed in the market. So we would want to give you that third eye or an external eye, where we have seen a couple of other startups in almost every field in various markets. So by sharing our experiences and perspectives, then help them to narrow or nurture the direction that their vision can take.
All right. Now, you just walk me through these programs. First of all, how long do these programs take? And also, like, you can just start from the step by step till the end. And you said not everyone qualifies to the end. Yeah. So do you like, you're disqualified, your idea is not... Do you do that? Maybe you can walk me through that and also tell me how long the program is.
So some of the programs that we'll run internally have specified time periods that they take, but some that we run with our partners or funders will depend on the needs and the extent of resources that the partners have. So that can be dynamic and it will change. But I will take you through a standard step that we take a startup through.
And you can give an example of one that...
Okay, yeah, sure. I will do that. So I will start with an example from Uganda. We used to work with universities where we call for applications, and then they will apply. They will go join student clubs, Starthub Africa clubs, where you will get the initial training and coaching on how to build. Then you will build something or your idea or an MVP, viable product is another term that we can define. And then there will be competitions at the end. At those competitions, we select, of course, the best or the one that is most promising in growth. Then we give them an offer for a catalyzer program. So this is a program where we will invest ourselves, and then we will pair you to a coach and mentors who will guide you through. So the initial process at universities will take somewhere between 3 months to months. And at the mentorship and coaching, we do support students or founders for a period of 2 years. In these 2 years, it's hands-on support. So you low-key get a part-time co-founder. I will join your team, and then we will be working on it together, identifying what we need to do next to grow faster. So in this period, we can also get you ready for investment and also introduce you to other investors who will be willing to.
Yeah.
So from there, it will be a journey of we are building this together. Yeah. In other typical programs, like I'll give you an example, in Kenya last year, worked with a couple of universities, and we were hosted by Strathmore University, where we did a 1-week intense bootcamp.
Yeah.
So at this bootcamp, you will get a compressed sort of practical business building or startup building course over a period of 1 week or 5 days. After those 5 days, we'll do a pitching event where they will compete, and we will select a few, and we'll have some investors in the room who can also select a few. That we take them through an incubation period of 3 months. That incubation period, we get into the investment period of 2 years. So as you see, the journey at the start, it can vary a lot, but in the end, we want to get you to a stable point where you can receive investment and you can receive venture building support from our team of experienced venture builders, mentors, and coaches.
All right. And how would you rate our startup infrastructure here in East Africa? What are the challenges that you have seen in, deploying your... Yes.
So there are a couple of things that are unique across Africa. One that is the most common is the field of technology is still growing in Africa. The uptake of tech also is growing. Just recently that I think in the last 10 years that smartphones have been adopted by the masses. So that means there are a lot of challenges that could be potentially solved by tech that haven't been solved because tech is still growing.
Yeah.
Other challenges could be like internet penetration, electricity penetration in various areas. It's common across markets.
Yeah.
But then there are actually a ton of differences. In my experience working with the founders and students in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, as much as I know the 3 countries identify as triplets from way back, we have some similarities, but again, there are some major differences in the markets. I know in Kenya, we have this notion of, Kenyans are aggressive and do a lot of stuff here and there and things. It's actually a true culture that I've come to see that also spills into building businesses and the culture of how people would look at problems and solutions. In Uganda, there is a budding culture of young people who are thirsty for change and building their community and solving problems. And there's a lot that is happening in the startup scene in Uganda. So many founders, so many communities, and so many programs that are supporting founders, and a couple of startups, both building in the limelight and in the backgrounds. In Tanzania, a major difference that I have seen is, of course, the culture there is a lot more into its own people. And that means someone that will be building a solution in such a market, if it is an homegrown solution, it's easily adopted than foreign solutions, which is a good thing if you look at it from the local market. And also, if we look at the side of the quality of talent for founders, there is a close correlation, actually. I know I have met this presumption or an assumption that, hey, as the culture of Tanzania, Uganda, they're a little bit laid back as opposed to Kenya. But I've come to love actually working with founders from Tanzania, Uganda, because of that culture of they would listen and get ready to go back and work on something. Somebody will consult and they will actually put in the work. Yeah. As opposed to, I think, Kenya, because of a lot of funding coming here, both in development world, NGOs, and also investment. I have met a couple of founders that are driven by that zeal, or they just want to raise money as much as the business is not doing really well, which is not a good culture. And the market is shaping that. It's changing. Now it's changing to investing into real businesses. And I've met founders that are grant focused. When I find a founder who just wants to build a business around grants, to me, it's a red flag. I want to build a sustainable business that will not even depend on any external investment. If you can build your business organically and raise your investment through revenue and put that back into growing your business, the better and it's the easiest way to grow.
All right. Right about now, we're going to take a short break. Do not go too far. Thank you for keeping it No Hits Radio. We will be right back. When we come back, we will be talking about the funding system, collaborations around the innovation hubs. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Morning Express show. Earlier on, we were having a conversation on innovation hubs and their role in bridging the gap between academia in universities and the industry. So if you happen to tune in late, worry not, this episode will be uploaded on our YouTube page and you can catch the full conversation. So we can continue with our conversation. I'd like to ask, which country was easy for you to penetrate through?
Okay, so that's a complex question that will involve a couple of things that we will maybe want to look at on easy and hard. I will start with our first country was Uganda. Regulatory wise, it wasn't a big challenge. It was easy to incorporate. But then since currently we don't have regulation on startups in that space, it's been a challenge also how maybe the tax authority would cut your investments in startups. So I know right now most countries in Africa are building a startup bill. I think Kenya should be at the end or already launching it in small phases. Tanzania is building its startup bill right now, and Uganda, the same thing is happening. So way back, it was a little bit harder, and we were actually part of the pioneers of these conversations in these countries. On the second bit, I would look at the markets or the partners that we were targeting, universities. How easy or hard was it? So at the beginning, it wasn't easy getting into universities. Because the concepts that we had about innovation spaces and hubs and working with student founders or even introducing practical entrepreneurship programs at universities wasn't easy because, of course, I wouldn't blame them. The university education is bureaucratic in changing anything. Because they have curriculums that have been built over years and they're working for them. And just a foreign idea can't come and sway and make them change everything immediately. So it had to be gradual. So there was a little bit of pushback from a few universities that didn't see this as something they needed. But over time, it became impressive as this challenge actually faded away. Now to a point where universities were reaching out to us to help them build curriculum in practical entrepreneurship and building startups. Some of them were hiring us to go and run these curriculums for them. Tanzania, there is a body, a commission that regulates technology, and they were of help a little bit, and it wasn't as hard breaking into universities because there is a good reception and perception of building innovations of universities or taking university research into the market. They call it commercialization. As much as with time I've come to realize that maybe the approach wasn't the best from how universities were looking at it, that first build researches, take it to the market, try to sell it, as opposed to our approach, which is go to the market first, identify a problem, and then come back and build. You don't build and go to the market.
Yeah.
You first go to the market and come back again. In Kenya, of course, I think it was much easier. The regulation here is a bit favorable, and the startup scene has been vibrant for a couple of years, so it's not a new thing. As much as there is still the same gap of in Kenya, most players want to work with advanced or later stage startups where they can easily invest. Yet we need to build pipeline before we get to the point of investment. We need someone to do the hard work, working with young minds and founders and students who have nothing or who are building something from the start. Whom, if you look at it from a business perspective, we as innovation hubs, it is expensive to work with university students and super early stage founders. Because then, if you look at the conversion ratio, it's really tiny. So we are bridging that gap by building pipeline for later stage investment. Yeah.
And I forgot to ask, is it only for university students or just anyone with an idea can?
Thank you for asking that, because actually we don't only focus with universities. Work with universities because they are structured and it's easy to get people in one area, and you can easily identify this university majors in IT in this field, and this university is strong in this area. So it is a good, easier catchment area. But our programs are open to anyone in the public. A good example, the program I mentioned that we did last year, it was called 0.1% founders. Like the creme de la creme, the top percentile of founders. It was open to all founders. And interestingly, we had actually a few participants who were not students at all. And someone who had dropped out of university and they were building something. And interestingly, actually, let me share this with you. From experience, I've come to realize that those founders that don't have a backup plan in a career, they're more focused because this is their do or die.
I know.
You know?
If they mess this up.
If they mess it up, they have no plan B. Where I can say, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm an accountant.
Exactly.
I can go back and still practice my knowledge of my craft. Yeah.
Okay. And let's talk about collaboration and funding. I believe to run such an organization, or, you have to collaborate with certain entities and also to get in money. You mentioned equity funding, but what are other investors? Who are the other investors?
Okay. Cool. So if you look at funding or fundraising or investment, I normally look at it from our perspective. We look at it in two ways. One, we could get investors who are funding programs or projects. So for those sort of investors, we don't have a huge influence on where we can run these programs. It will depend on a funder and the impact goals that they have. A very good example that I will give you is development agencies from first world countries, for example, UK Aid, US Aid, GIZ, European Union. They normally have their impact goals that they want to achieve. And because they don't have presence here in Africa, yet we have the presence and the experience, they subcontract us to run those programs for them. So we've had a couple of these engagements before. With the European Union, GIZ, World Food Programme, ILO, International Labour Organizations. But some of these programs are timed. They face off after maybe 1 year or 3 years, depending on how long it is. But on the other hand, where we're looking at investment in startups, now those sort of investment, we're looking at corporate investors or individual investors, venture capitalists, or angel investors that are looking for startups to invest in. We are also investing in some of the startups. So raising some of these funds is purely on business merit. Does the business make sense? And is there a potential to invest in that business? So with that, we've also partnered with a couple of these types of investors that I've mentioned, both local and foreign. Another investor that you would look at is government, not as an investor per se, but they invest in some programs because different governments have their own goals and visions that they have for their countries. And there's some projects or programs that they run in the area of business advancement or supporting small businesses. And we can also support that. So we've worked with micro SMEs, small enterprises and medium enterprises. Yep.
And what emerging technologies are you guys introducing or having in these innovations?
So as you all know or have heard, right now there is a lot of advancement in AI, and I believe it is at a prime time that AI is budding right now, when Africa is at the peak of addressing its problems. And I have been encouraging a lot of founders to find ways to incorporate AI, either one, to make their operations much easier and smoother to run, or to make the customer experience amazing and very easy to solve problems. So we have seen a couple of startups that are incorporating AI into their businesses. A lot of startups that are incorporating blockchain, of course, in money transfer, international money transfer, and building solutions in that area, which is a beautiful thing that I can say that we are actually uptaking that. It's not being looked at as a foreign thing or a very rigid, complex idea that is coming up.
Right. And are there any programs tailored to, do you have programs tailored to the specific countries? Like this program cannot run in Kenya, but it's suitable for Uganda and so on?
Not specific. Right now, if you remember, I mentioned we run tech, venture building support, and manufacturing.
Yeah.
We've specialized in Uganda and Tanzania because if you look at the geography of these countries, Uganda has a lot of agricultural produce and a lot of small-scale manufacturing and value addition. Same case to Tanzania. And there are multiple of businesses that are small in those areas that are trying to build something, but they don't have support because you'll find most of the support is going to later advanced SMEs. Yet, if you look at a graph, I wish if we had a place to write, I could have drawn that to you. If you look at the graph of conversion of small businesses to SMEs to large companies, there are so many small businesses. So if we could imagine, I would think of a graph of small SMEs and large companies against the number of them that are building. There's so many small businesses. Why? Because I think as a culture in Africa, so many people try to make a living by starting a business. And it gets to a point where they can only live hand to mouth, and they don't want to build it to a point where they can employ 5 more people. So the conversion from small businesses to SMEs is really, really low. So the graph will be so high at small, then it almost collapses at SMEs. There's so few SMEs. And then these few SMEs might or might not grow into large companies. So we want to work with small size business so that we can increase the number that grows into SMEs. So that's why manufacturing is good, at least in Uganda and Tanzania. I'm not saying Kenya is not good, but at least we have...
what's our stronghold?
Tech.
Tech.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tech. That's
in what line, what path? Is it health? Is it...
So fintech has been big the recent years in Kenya. So fintech, health tech, and ed tech. So tech in education. I've seen a couple of innovations in that area, and they're being received really well in the market. Fintech, it has gone past the point of just looking at it as demystifying traditional banking to mobile banking. Now we are already in mobile banking because M-Pesa started from here. We are going past that. So it is mobile banking and any money-related services in different sectors. So I've seen fintechs that will focus only in agriculture. Some will focus only in transport. Some will focus only in maybe education space, global money transfer and movements. So, and a lot of investors that I have interacted with, they find fintech to be much more promising in Kenya. The same is replicating across other countries in East Africa as well. But I think it's because of also the culture. If you look at mobile money adoption in Kenya, I think it's way higher than, I don't know the percentages of head right now, but it's way higher compared to other East African states.
Yeah.
So it's much, much easier building a fintech in Kenya. Yeah. But there's a fast-paced growth also that I've seen in Tanzania and Uganda.
Okay.
Yep.
The success stories, maybe we can now move from some of the organization ideas. We mentioned them.
Yeah.
How many companies you've seen from the ideation stage to the fruition stage here in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania? You can start with Kenya.
Cool. So we did our first investments way back in 2021, just immediately after COVID. So some of them, we had selected them before COVID. We actually started investments in 2020, but because of COVID, we paused a little bit. Then we did now more investments in 2021. And over the years, we've been investing in from Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. So to mention some of the startups that we've worked with. So right now we have a portfolio of about 10 startups in the 3 countries. And the oldest that have now gone to a stage of fundraising, of raising institutional investment from venture capitalists are 4. I will give a shout out to a few of them. We could look them up later, or the listeners or viewers can look them up.
Yeah.
There is an interesting startup in Uganda called Clark.io, but they've changed over time. And right now it is an AI based solution. I'm trying to remember the name. I don't know why it's Nexa. It's Nexa.ai.
Oh, Nexa.
Nexa.
Okay.
.ai.
Yeah.
So this startup supports businesses to bridge the gap of the communication and sales and conversion of prospects into actually sales, proper sales. So it will handle for you the initial stages of talking to a client, interacting with the client, and converting them to sales. So at the end, then a human will come in and take up. So it's purely based on AI, and they are providing these solutions to so many SMEs.
Yeah, and that's in Uganda.
Yeah, that's in
What
Uganda.
about Kenya?
In Kenya right now, we are working with a startup that is in the property space. So they are building a solution, a SaaS solution, software as a service solution for landlords. You realize traditionally, landlords can only supervise their tenants either through a book or an Excel sheet, or give this job to a property management company. But now with this software, you can onboard all your landlords on the same platform. They can make payments directly. You can push reminders to your clients. You can pay all utilities, be it water, garbage, salaries of every other person, just with one view. So it makes property management way easier. It is iNyumba.
iNyumba.
Yeah, .com.
Is it already out there? Is it functioning?
Yeah, it is functioning.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's in the market.
Any landlord or tenant can.
Yeah, any landlord can jump on it. Yeah. Just check iNyumba.com. I'm sure you'll find a contact there that you can follow up.
Okay.
In Tanzania, there's a startup that is working in EdTech. So they are in the space, the gap between high school and university. So they support students in the transition. They'll help you select the courses that you can go and study. They'll help you understand the courses that are out there. They'll help you match your interests and your performance to whatever course. So it's sort of a career guider, but it goes beyond that, and they will help you in making applications to multiple universities. By having one profile, you can apply to multiple universities, both locally and abroad.
Okay.
I know for listeners in Kenya, we know we have a government platform, KUCCPS, which does the course selection. But there is still a gap in deciding what you want to go and do. This is purely based on your competency and what you've performed.
Yeah.
But these guys are helping you to understand what course is this? Is it something I want to do, to give you real life scenarios of what you will become, and then make the application process seamless. Studying abroad has never been with these guys.
And I'm thinking, for those people, students, or just people with ideas that didn't see the light of day, what could you say was the challenges, or something that you could pinpoint that this is the reason this startup failed? Because when I'll reference again that interview I had, one of the issues where startups mostly fail is copy and pasting, where African startups are not looking at what is suitable for us as Africans. They're borrowing from the West. And that being suitable for the West cannot serve us, Yeah. So did you see that? And is it one of them? And also you can add the other reasons why.
Yeah, the other reasons. Yeah, I agree. There are similar cases of copy and paste, which doesn't work for our market. But I am not totally against copy and paste. Let's copy and paste, but customize that copied idea to our local context.
Okay.
Customize it to solve our own problems locally. But a direct copy and paste without looking at the market, there will be fewer chances of success. Other problems that I have seen, I think something I mentioned earlier, people building because they've built. People selling into the market because they've built. Because I am a techie, I can code really well. I build a system that does maybe traffic lights monitoring. And then I will assume that my market will respond to that and pay for that. Because remember, at the end of the day, you want something that people can pay for. So if it's not a problem that people really have, they might not see the sense in paying.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've come across a couple of apps in the stores online where you download it and then you want a certain feature, they ask you to pay, but you weigh the options. No, I don't need it.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Oh, you do the free trial and then you...
Yeah, you check, right? But then there's some that after you have used and then they ask you to pay, actually end up paying.
Yeah.
Yeah. End up paying and you're happy about paying.
Yeah, exactly.
That is why I think most people pay for Spotify, people pay for Netflix.
Exactly. And YouTube, because
YouTube.
of the ads.
Yeah, people pay for YouTube. One thing that I've paid for, which I was telling people that I've paid for this, and they're like, why?
Yeah.
I've paid for Truecaller.
Hata hapo umeenda mbali.
I've paid for Truecaller because one, I don't want the ads. Yet I find Truecaller, it has a lot of ads. Yet it's so amazing. Like in the space that I work in, I get so many calls. I've interacted with so many people. Some will be VIPs. Some will be, they've gotten your contact from somewhere and you don't want to come out rude. Then Truecaller gives you the name of it. Okay. So you even get prepared on what to expect. Is it an important call or not? Yeah. Because when you see a new number, most of the times you'll be like, no, new numbers, I'll respond later if I'm busy. But if it's an important call, then you know what to text. So I think to me, it makes life easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We all have our preferences.
Yeah.
Truecaller, Anyway, looking ahead, what are the trends? What trends do you think will shape the future of university innovation, hubs, and entrepreneurship in East Africa?
I will start that by mentioning our vision that we have is African entrepreneurs shaping the Africa they want. So from the beginning, before that, our vision has changed. We wanted to build a movement of African entrepreneurs solving problems in Africa. Because back then, there was little that was happening at universities, and some universities that had innovation hubs, maybe they were not fully equipped with personnel that would guide. It was just a space with computers, a lab, then you will call it an innovation space. But it goes beyond that. to the point of providing human resources and personnel that are experienced in that space. So for us, we are happy that right now, a lot of universities are realizing the importance of building innovation hubs within the universities to support founders and students. So we are now moving from that because we feel like it's something that is fast, picking up pace really fast. So I am seeing a future where each university should be able to have a functional innovation space. And then we can now move into investing in ideas that are coming from universities because they got really good support and they're brilliant ideas that we can invest in. Looking at also trends, maybe to respond to the question of trends generally, there is still a lot that we are yet to do in various sectors. Of course, in the health, insurance, education, and fintech as well. There's a lot that has not been done that can be done. So I am seeing a future where tech is going to be the central of a lot of things that we do. You cannot run away from it. Like, right now, you cannot use M-Pesa if you don't have at least a phone.
Yeah, smartphone. Oh, just a phone.
Yeah, just a phone right now, yeah. I like the fact that right now M-Pesa is moving into an app, an M-Pesa app, which is much more functional and easier as opposed to the USSD or the traditional SIM toolkit. So we are moving to that direction. Think about ride hailing, the taxis, the online taxis. Yeah. It has come to a point where, of course, you can't run it if you don't have a smartphone. So it will come to a point where you have a smartphone and you're interacting with it a lot. I don't know, it could be a good thing or bad thing. But then a lot of solutions are around that device. So tech is going to be a central part in building solutions for the future. And of course, that will also build a lot more opportunities for different areas. If we look at different business models, maybe B2B, it will be easier for them if a lot of people will be online and they're reachable. You can easily sell some of the services or resources. Like now, I mentioned insurance. Initially or traditionally, if you needed an insurance cover for your car, you have to go to an office and get the sticker. But right now, most of them have gone online. Just pay, you get your sticker, and you're good to go. And so many other services have moved online. Think about e-commerce. E-commerce is an area that grew back, actually, because e-commerce started as soon as when Amazon also went big. So e-commerce was also adopted in our region. And most businesses were trying to build a website and be online. But now, it was hard at that time in the past to even have an online shop. But right now, I think I've interacted with a couple of small businesses in town that are doing well online as opposed to physical. So you find that someone has just a store in town where they can place their goods, but a lot of their sales and interactions are online, which is a good thing.
All right, and then we can finish with the advice you'll have for young innovators in who are starting. And also, you can tell us if someone has an idea, do they just reach out to you guys or how do they find you?
Sure. We'll start with that. If you want to reach out to us, just check out www.starthub Africa. Start hub HUB Africa.org. There you can find links that you can apply to us if you're in Kenya, Uganda, or Tanzania, and you'll get a lot more guidance of what you can apply to. And if you have an idea, be it you're in whatever level of education, as long as you're willing to build something, it makes sense. Right now in Kenya, a lot more, we incline into tech. It has to be a tech-based or tech-enabled. Reach out to us. We can support you through the initial processes and also do the initial funding where nobody will be betting a risk on you. We will bet on you. We will risk our money on you because we, of course, believe in you. Then from there, it will be easier for other investors to come in because they'll say, Starthub has invested. I can also invest. My parting shot for founders. You have an idea, don't sleep with it or don't be scared that someone will steal my idea. That is a very old saying that if you're thinking someone will steal your idea, you will die with your idea while somebody else is thinking of the same thing and building elsewhere.
Yeah.
So what should you do? Get into the market, talk to your customers, learn, innovate, iterate, and keep changing and growing. You only learn by trying. If you remember, we used to do experiments in school because you easily see and remember. It's the same thing in business.
Yeah.
It's not a theoretical thing that you can plan a business plan and then go out. No. Go to the market with the most simple or archaic product. Try selling.
Yeah.
People will reject you. Learn from the rejection. You'd better learn, actually know that people don't want this as opposed to building something, then take it to the market. Yeah. So if you're still thinking that I have an idea, I'm building it, I'm protecting it, and I don't want to take it out, you're losing it. Just go out, push it to the public, and people will give you very valuable feedback.
All right. And that has been us on the challenges that are facing the business sector, the entrepreneurs, and what innovation hubs are doing to, bridge that gap. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure
Timothy,
too.
thank you so much for keeping it No Hits Radio. Remember, you can always find this episode on our YouTube channel at No Hits Radio. You can connect and engage with us on our other platforms on Instagram at nhr.live, TikTok and Facebook at No Hits Radio. Keep inspired and keep innovating. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tune in to No Hits Radio, where we're not just following trends, we're setting them.